Well, read imaginative writers. People do this in different ways. I have friends who use the cinema to do this. It doesn't work quite that way for me. Jan and I usually spend an hour and a half or so in the evening before supper reading aloud. We've done this from the day we were married. It wasn't always quite successful when our children were small, but they haven't been small for a long time now. But we were looking around for a book to read, and it was, I think, long about the beginning of the new year, January. And I said, let's read Tolkien. We hadn't read Tolkien since our kids were small, and we read The Lord of the Rings to them. And so we got Tolkien out, and we started reading it. And we read it in, I don't know, maybe 4 months. But when we got done with that, I said to Jan, if I was a professor again and teaching a course for pastors, I'd make this the text. The whole gospel story's in there. And the whole way of being unimportant and faithful and obedient and willing to put up with all this evil without knowing you're going to do anything about it. All that stuff comes into a story, an imaginative story, which is powerful. And so I've got my favorites. And so Jan and I are usually reading a novel. We're reading, and at this time in our lives, we often, these are second and third readings. We're reading Jayber Crow right now. And he's, it's a great picture of a pastor. He's a barber. And, but he's a pastor barber. And, but Wendell Berry, the author, has a very Christian-soaked imagination. His poetry, his essays, everything is, he sees things in gospel perspective, incarnational perspective.